Hey everybody, David the AI Guide. How are you? Today we're going to meld a couple of different areas together, medicine and robotics. And we've talked on a number of videos about this, but today it's a little bit different because I happened to run into a couple of different articles that were talking about different aspects of the same problem, and just in time to do today's segment. So the first article was about a shortage of doctors specializing in geriatrics. And there's a huge shortage of those kind of doctors. And there's a few reasons for it. I mean, first, it's a medical specialty, which means extra school. So a regular family doctor already does 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and 3 years of residency. So a specialty like geriatrics adds at least a year, sometimes two. So you're looking at post-high school, 12 to 13 years of education and the debt that goes with it. So, a lot of people don't go into specialties, and then the doctors who do go into a specialty tend to cluster in the very high-paying ones, which you would expect, like heart surgery, brain surgery, orthopedics, stuff like that. It was interesting to read as part of this article that your typical orthopedic doctor makes about $500,000 a year, so that's real money. But this specific article was focusing on geriatrics, particularly in the COVID-19 environment that is hitting older people disproportionately hard. And for example, they were talking about the state of Arkansas. And in Arkansas, there are only like 4 or 5 geriatric doctors for a population of people 65 and older in the hundreds of thousands or something like that. Maybe my number might be a little off. Maybe there was 20 for several 100,000 people. But in any event, it was a ridiculously low number for the need. So that was the first article I saw. And then the second article I just saw about an article about the Robotics and Innovation Lab at Trinity College Dublin. And they have been working on a robot that they've been testing in a veterans retirement center in Washington, D.C., a robot called Stevie. And this particular robot is as much social as it is physical, meaning assistive. So what does Stevie do? Well, first, Stevie talks to people who don't have visitors coming in the days of COVID because a lot of nursing homes were locked down and no visitors were allowed. And interaction with other people is absolutely critical to the mental, physical, and otherwise well-being of folks in nursing homes and retirement centers. This is critical. So Stevie talks to them and is AI driven, so Stevie can respond to them, interact with them, have a conversation, and relate facts that it can access. So that's pretty cool. And the other thing Stevie is there for is if someone is calling out, "Help me," it will notify an attendant or take meal orders and stuff like that. So why is this important? Well, it's been in the press a lot that there's a huge shortage of assistants in nursing homes. Huge. Hundreds of thousands short. So they're trying to figure out what can we do to help reduce this shortage, and one potential way is AI-driven and enabled robots. Now, Stevie's fully autonomous. With its AI, it can go anywhere. It learns a nursing home, and it can go anywhere on its own. However, in that environment, it always has a handler with it because if an elderly person comes around a corner and falls, it can be pretty bad, and they don't want that. So Trinity College Dublin, through its Robotics and Innovation Lab, brought this robot in and saw how people interacted with it and what they could improve on. And they're just about to bring in version 2 of Stevie and gauge the interaction further with that. But you can see, based on what they're doing, that the intention and plan is certainly within 5 years to start rolling out large numbers of these robots in retirement homes and nursing homes, and which is a very good thing to the degree that they're interactive and assistive. As we've talked about robots pretty extensively, and some of their functionality is still somewhat limited, but over the next 10 years, they're probably going to be able to assist an elderly person to get up out of a chair, or sit them in a chair, or help them get out of bed, help them get into bed, all kinds of things that are not possible now. But 10 years is an eon as fast as robotic technology is developing. And if you don't believe me, go to Boston Dynamics website and look at the evolution of their robots over just the last 3 years. It's stunning, stunning. So why am I talking about this? As you know, this channel is targeted to you folks who are in high school, college, and just out of college and thinking about your careers. So by the way, you can finish college, work for a while, and go back to med school. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's probably better. But you can see that in the medical field, in this very narrow slice of the medical field, there's a huge shortage and need for people. So robots can't replace human beings in this whole mix. So there is 500,000 jobs that are coming open early to the midpoint of your career. That's a huge number. And that's just in the United States. Globally, millions of jobs. Why? Because the largest generation in the US and the industrialized countries, which is Western Europe and Canada and parts of Asia like Japan and Korea and stuff like that, the populations are aging rapidly, and it's not being replaced on a one-to-one basis. So there's a huge explosion of the elderly population coming very, very soon. So when you're thinking about careers, there's many things you can do here. You can go into home health aid. You can go into an assistant in these types of environments, nursing homes, or assisted living, or senior retirement centers. Or you can go into nursing, which we've talked about before, that puts you on a much higher wage scale than just being a home health aide or assistant in a nursing home. And then, of course, there's doctors and geriatrics. Now, geriatric doctors do not make the kind of money that brain surgeons, heart surgeons, nerve surgeons, and orthopedic surgeons make. They just don't make that kind of money, but it's critically needed. And think about your parents and grandparents. Your parents, before you know it, are going to need these services. So stuff to think about, and I hope you enjoyed this segment. We're going to continue to talk about leading edge stuff that's just happening. This is all just happening on robotics and stuff like that, and jobs and what the future holds for the work world. So thank you. If you like this video, like it. If you really like it, subscribe, please, and share it with all your friends. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.